holiday visit turned into chaos when my stepsister Donna's grudge exploded during Christmas dinner. Total disaster. So I just got back from what was supposed to be a simple, peaceful Christmas at home, and honestly, I'm still shaking. I feel like I just walked out of a reality TV episode where the producers sat back and said, let's ruin every ounce of joy and watch the drama unfold. For context, I'm 38, and my stepsister Donna, 45, has never exactly been the warm, fuzzy type. She and I grew up in this weird blended family situation. Our parents married when I was 10 and she was 17, so she always looked at me like I was some intruder in her house. We've had our share of icy moments, but things never blew up the way they did this year. The plan was simple. I was going to my dad's house for Christmas Eve dinner. My dad, 68, and stepmom Carol, 63, wanted everyone together, like old times. That meant Donna would be there with her husband Mark, their 2 teenage kids, and then me, my partner Sarah, and my little brother Ethan, 35. I knew walking in that there would be tension as Donna, there always is, but I didn't expect this. We arrived around 5 p.m, house decorated in that over-the-top way. My stepmom loves garlands everywhere, Santa baby blasting on a loop, and the smell of Carol's roast wafting from the kitchen. Dad hugged me, Ethan cracked open a beer, everything seemed fine until Donna walked in. She didn't even say hi to me. She just gave me that tight smile and muttered, of course you're here. I brushed it off, because honestly, I didn't want to start anything. But then, over appetizers, she started with these little digs. So, still freelancing, huh? She asked, smirking. Yes, I said. Business has been good this year. Guess some people are okay living paycheck to paycheck. Sarah squeezed my hand under the table, silently telling me not to react. Things really escalated once we sat down for dinner. Dad was carving the turkey, everyone passing dishes around, when Donna raised her glass and said, well, here's to another year of pretending everything's fine. The table went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Donna. Carol warned, giving her that mom look. What? We're all adults here, Donna said, waving her hand. Might as well stop pretending. I tried to keep calm, but my stomach was in knots. I knew exactly where she was going, and sure enough, she leaned forward, stared right at me, and said, you think I don't remember? You think I forgot how you ruined Christmas 15 years ago? I froze. Because oh yes, I knew what she meant. When Donna said that, the whole table stiffened. Mark, her husband, muttered, Donna, not tonight, but she ignored him. Her kids looked mortified, staring at their plates. Meanwhile, I was just sitting there with my fork halfway to my mouth, thinking, here we go. Donna, I started carefully. Are you really bringing that up? It was forever ago. She slammed her wine glass down, the liquid sloshing out onto the tablecloth. Forever ago? Do you even realize what that Christmas did to me? You waltzed into this family, Daddy's little favorite, and I was left with scraps. Carol tried to intervene, saying, sweetheart, it wasn't like that. But Donna cut her off. Don't you dare. You and Dad spent all your time fawning over him while I got ignored, and then that year, God, I'll never forget Christmas morning. All I wanted was that Sony stereo system. I begged for it. I was 17. I'd been saving, talking about it for months, but who got it instead? Him. And then she pointed directly at me. The room went dead silent again. My partner Sarah whispered, what stereo? Because she obviously had no idea what this was about. And Ethan, bless him, tried to diffuse the tension by joking, oh my God, are we really fighting about 2000s electronics right now? But Donna wasn't laughing. She was full on shaking, her face red. You don't get it. That was the moment I knew I didn't matter in this family. He got the big gift, the attention, the love. I got shoved aside like I was nothing, and it's been that way ever since. Dad put his knife down and sighed heavily. Donna, that's not true. We loved you just as much. No, you didn't, she snapped. He never did. Everything was always about him, and now look at this, he strolls in here acting all successful, acting like we're supposed to forget how it started. At that point, my hands were sweating, my throat tight. Donna, I didn't ask for the stereo. I didn't even know you wanted it. I was a kid. It wasn't some grand conspiracy to hurt you. But she wasn't having it. She leaned back in her chair, crossed her arms, and said coldly, you stole my Christmas, and I've never forgiven you. The room felt like it was spinning. Sarah whispered, this is insane, and Ethan muttered under his breath, she's lost it. And then because apparently things weren't dramatic enough, Donna stood up, slammed her napkin on the table, and said, I'm done pretending. I'm not going to sit here and celebrate like we're one big happy family, because we're not. We never were. Her daughter whispered, Mom, please, but Donna stormed off into the living room, muttering about how she should have stayed home. The rest of us just sat there, completely stunned. Dad had his face in his hands. Carol was tearing up. And I just kept thinking, did a 25-year-old stereo really just nuke Christmas? After Donna stormed off, the tension at the table didn't just simmer, it boiled. Dad sat back with his hands over his face, muttering, I can't believe this is happening. Carol tried to calm everyone down, but even she looked rattled. Ethan finally broke the silence. Okay, seriously, we can't let this ruin the whole night. She's mad, yeah. But it's Christmas. Can't we just, I don't know, E. I wanted to nod, but the words stuck in my throat. I knew Donna wasn't just angry about some old stereo, this was years of pent-up resentment, jealousy, and bitterness coming to the surface. And now it was out in front of the whole family. Before anyone could respond, Donna came back, her face pale and eyes glistening. You think ignoring me will make it go away? She demanded. Do you think I'm going to sit here and pretend like nothing ever happened? I've waited decades for someone to finally notice how much I've been hurt. Mark got up, clearly trying to mediate. Donna, calm down. Let's talk about this somewhere else. No, she snapped. Everyone needs to hear this. And then she started pacing, voice rising. You never saw me, ever, Dad. You treated me like I was invisible. Carol, you favored him from day one, and now all these years later, it's the same thing. He gets attention, he gets praise, he gets everything I wanted, and what do I get? A life of playing second fiddle. At this point, the younger kids, her son and daughter, were quietly crying on the couch. Sarah wrapped her arm around me and whispered, just let her get it out. Maybe she'll calm down. But she didn't. She turned back to me, eyes flashing. Do you have any idea how it felt to always be overlooked, to always have to fight for scraps, and then to have you, Mr. Perfect, get everything I ever wanted, without even trying? I wanted to respond, to defend myself, but honestly, what could I say? I was a kid back then. I didn't orchestrate her life. I didn't take anything from her on purpose. Yet here she was, spilling decades of rage at me as if I was some villain in her story. Ethan finally snapped. Donna, seriously, enough, you're hurting everyone right now. We're supposed to be a family tonight, and you're turning this into a war zone. Her lips curled into a bitter laugh. Oh, a war zone. You think this is new? Every Christmas, every birthday, every stupid family dinner, it's always been a war zone for me, and now you get to sit here smug and pretend like none of this ever mattered. Carol grabbed Donna's arm gently. We all love you. You're part of this family. We didn't know you felt this way. Not enough. Donna yelled, breaking free. It's never enough, and tonight proves it. By now, Dad had stood up, foreshaking. Enough, Donna, please, we're family. You can't keep doing this every holiday. But Donna's glare was ice cold. Maybe this is the last Christmas I spent here. Maybe it's time you all finally see me for who I am, angry, hurt, and done pretending. The room went quiet again. Her words hung heavy, like smoke from a fire that wouldn't die. I sat there, heart pounding, staring at the chaos that was supposed to be our happy holiday. I realized this wasn't about a stereo, or even just one Christmas. It was every long-held grudge she'd buried for decades, finally erupting in one explosive evening. After Donna's outburst, the room was a war zone of silence. Sarah squeezed my hand, whispering, do we even try to salvage this, or just let it burn? I didn't have an answer. I mean, half of me wanted to crawl under the table and disappear, and the other half just wanted to yell back. Carol, bless her heart, decided to try diplomacy. The Donna, she said softly, I know you're hurt. We had no idea it ran this deep. Let's sit down and talk, okay? Not tonight, maybe, but soon. Donna's eyes narrowed. Talk, you've been telling me that for years. We'll talk about it. It'll get better. And what? It never did. You all just ignored me while he got everything I wanted, everything I dreamed of, and I'm supposed to smile now. Dad sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Donna, we never meant to hurt you. Maybe we didn't realize, but we love you. You're part of this family. I don't want Christmas to be ruined here. I don't want your love, she snapped, cutting him off. I want acknowledgement. I want you to admit that I've been treated unfairly. Ethan rolled his eyes but tried again. Look, all of us, we made mistakes. I mean, you're not the only one who's felt overlooked. I've had my moments. Sarah said hers. Can we at least admit it and try to move forward? For a moment, Donna's fire seemed to flicker. Her arms slackened slightly, though her jaw was still tight. I just never felt seen, and it's not just about presents or attention. She has a feeling like I was second best. That hit a nerve. I finally spoke, my voice low but steady. Donna, I didn't know you felt like that. I really didn't. I thought we were just kids, growing up in a messy blended family. I never meant to take anything from you. I never tried to be your rival. She stared at me for a long, tense moment. Mark came up behind her and put a hand on her shoulder. You've been carrying this weight for too long, he said. Maybe it's time to start letting some of it go. Her eyes flicked to me again, softening slightly. I don't know if I can just let it go, but I'm tired of pretending I'm fine. Carol wiped a tear from her cheek. None of us are perfect, and none of us realize the depth of your hurt, but we can try, Donna, we really can. There was a long pause. Then, slowly, Donna slumped into a chair, burying her face in her hands. I just wanted this to feel like home again. I didn't want to explode. Sarah whispered, see, she's human. She just needed someone to see her. For the first time that night, the tension eased just a little. It wasn't perfect, and the Christmas spirit wasn't fully restored, but it felt like maybe the worst of the grudge had been aired. Ethan cracked a nervous smile. Soft turkey? A few reluctant laughs followed. Donna didn't smile yet, but she didn't storm off again either. The tension had eased enough that we cautiously returned to the dinner table. Donna was quiet, still tense, but at least she hadn't left the house. The turkey sat in the centre, steam rising, and for a moment it almost felt like Christmas again if you ignored the awkward energy radiating off Donna like a storm cloud. Carol cleared her throat. Why don't we just try to eat, and maybe, if we're lucky, laugh a little? Ethan grinned and grabbed a roll. I think I can manage a laugh if someone doesn't throw a plate. Donna snorted a sharp, humourless snort, but it was a start. I passed her the cranberry sauce, and she muttered a quiet, thanks. Not much, but it was acknowledgement. As we ate, the conversation was cautious, careful. We avoided old grudges, avoided the stereo, and focused on little things, the weird snowman decoration in the hallway, the weirdly spicy cranberry sauce that Carol had experimented with, the way the dog, Buster, kept begging under the table. Then Donna's daughter, Emma, suddenly piped up. Mom, remember last year when we tried to build that gingerbread house and it collapsed? Donna laughed, a genuine laugh that startled me. Oh God, yes, and you all blame me for it. Her son, Luke, joined in. Yeah, Mom, it wasn't your fault. You literally glued the roof with frosting. That stuff is not structural. Even Donna laughed again. The tension loosened a fraction more, and I felt a little of the old warmth creeping in. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. After dinner, Dad suggested we all gather in the living room for hot chocolate. Donna hesitated, then agreed. As we sipped the steaming mugs, Sarah whispered, see, small victories. And they were small, but meaningful. Donna's shoulders relaxed, and for the first time that night, she didn't glare at me. She was still wary, still carrying the weight of decades of resentment, but she was present. At one point, Ethan nudged me. You think we're actually getting through this without someone crying? I smirked. I wouldn't count on it. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, Donna's husband Mark spilled a little cocoa on the rug. Chaos ensued. The kids shrieked. Donna grabbed paper towels. Sarah tried to help, and I ended up laughing so hard I almost cried. The absurdity broke something. The heaviness of the night started to lift. Later, Donna pulled me aside quietly. I'm sorry I blew up like that. It's not all your fault. I've been holding on to stuff for too long. And maybe I overreacted. I nodded, relief washing over me. I get it, and I'm sorry you felt invisible for so long. I really didn't mean to hurt you. For the first time, there was a real moment of connection. Not everything was fixed, far from it, but the ice had cracked. That night, as I left Dad's house, I realized something important. Family is messy, grudge holding is toxic, and holidays don't have to be perfect. They just have to be real. And maybe, just maybe, this Christmas disaster had started something that could actually heal. The next morning, Christmas Day, things felt different. The storm of last night had passed, leaving behind a fragile calm. Donna was still tense, but she was making small gestures helping Carol in the kitchen, laughing at Buster's antics, and even asking me how my freelance work was going. I was hesitant at first, wary of triggering another explosion. But as she started talking, I realized she wasn't trying to start drama, she was reaching out. You know, she said, pouring herself some coffee, I've realized something. I've been holding on to so much bitterness. It's like carrying a suitcase full of rocks. I'm tired of being angry every holiday, every family dinner. It's exhausting. I nodded. I get that, and I appreciate you telling me. Honestly, I've wanted us to have a good relationship too, for a long time. Her eyes softened, and she looked genuinely vulnerable. It's not easy, you know, admitting all this, saying I felt overlooked for years, but maybe it's time I try. Her words hit me harder than I expected. For so long, I'd seen Donna as this untouchable force of anger and grudge holding. Seeing her like this real, hurt, human was a shock. Ethan wandered in holding a plate of cookies. Don't mind us, just observing the peace treaty in action, he joked, earning a small laugh from Donna. Even Dad joined in, offering her a cinnamon roll. I know we can't change the past, but we can do better going forward. We love you, Donna, all of us. She nodded, taking it. I know, I guess I've just needed to hear it. Later, we gathered in the living room to exchange small gifts. Donna gave me a handmade scarf. I could see the effort she put into it. It was thoughtful, and a gesture of goodwill. I hugged her tightly, saying, thank you, this really means a lot. Her eyes welled up a little. It's just a start, she said. Sarah whispered, see, healing can be awkward, but it's real. Even Mark seemed relieved, sitting back and smiling. The kids were playing with Buster, the dog, and for a moment the house actually felt like a family again. By the end of the day, Donna and I had even shared a few memories from our childhood that went steeped in resentment, silly inside jokes, shared holiday mishaps, and embarrassing stories about Ethan. Laughter slowly replaced tension. As I drove home later that evening, I realized that while one Christmas couldn't erase decades of hurt, it could start to chip away at them. Donna and I had opened the door, the first step toward understanding and maybe even forgiveness. I knew it wouldn't be perfect next year, or the year after, but for the first time, I felt hope. Hope that family, even messy, grudge-filled family, could still find a way to heal. And that realization made this holiday disaster not so disastrous after all. By the evening, the house had a softer energy. The chaos from Christmas Eve felt like a distant storm, though the memory of Donna's outburst still lingered. But now, instead of anger, there was reflection, quiet acknowledgement that things needed to change. Donna invited me to the porch while everyone else was busy cleaning up. The night was cold, the snow glittering under the streetlight, and for a moment, we just stood there in silence. I know last night was intense, she started, voice low. I've been carrying this grudge for years. It's like I've been trapped in it, and I didn't know how to let go. I nodded. I get that, and I'm sorry if I ever seemed, I don't know, unfeeling. I never meant to take anything from you. I really didn't. She gave a small laugh, almost self-deprecating. It's not all on you. You know, I've held on to a lot of resentment. It's been easier to blame someone than to face my own hurt. Her honesty caught me off guard. The stepsister I'd always seen as sharp, distant, and impossible to reach was standing there, vulnerable, admitting the truth. It was almost surreal. I guess, she continued, what I'm trying to say is I don't want to spend the rest of my life angry, not at you, not at Dad, not at anyone. I just needed you all to know how I felt. I felt my throat tighten. I'm glad you told us. It's the first step towards something better, and I want that too. I want us to have a real family, even if it's messy sometimes. She smiled faintly, a real, genuine smile. Messy is the only way we've ever been, isn't it? We laughed softly, the tension dissolving just a little more. Then she reached out and squeezed my hand. Thanks for listening, for not fighting back. That means a lot. I squeezed back. Always. Later, back inside, the family gathered for one final toast of the night. Dad raised his glass. To family, imperfect, messy, grudge-filled at times but ours, and to taking the first steps towards healing. Donna lifted her glass, eyes listening, to acknowledging the past and maybe, finally, letting go. We clinked glasses. It wasn't perfect. Donna's grudge wasn't completely gone. But the shift was palpable. The walls of resentment had cracked enough to let warmth in. Ethan raised an eyebrow, smirking. So does this mean I don't have to barricade my room next Christmas? Everyone laughed, including Donna. And for the first time that holiday season, the house felt truly alive, the storm of resentment replaced with cautious hope. As I left Dad's house that night, I realized that even decades of hurt could be softened with honesty, vulnerability, and the willingness to try. Donna and I weren't fully healed, but the foundation was laid. And somehow, in the middle of a holiday disaster that could have torn us apart, we found the first threads of genuine connection. It wasn't perfect. It was family. And that somehow was enough.